African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing on the progress of the Special Military Operation as of November 1st, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the Special Military Operation. Units of the North Troop Grouping inflicted damage on formations of 2 mechanized brigades, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Andriivka, Varakino, Iskra-Skopshina, Kondratovka, Novaya Sek, and Pavlovka in the Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, damage was inflicted on units of a motorized infantry brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Volchansk and Sinelnikovo in the Kharkiv region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost over 170 servicemen, 2 armored combat vehicles, 6 vehicles, and a field artillery gun. 2 electronic warfare and counter battery stations, as well as 6 material supply depots, were destroyed. Units of the West Troop Grouping improved their tactical position. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 3 mechanized brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Drozlyabovka, Petropavlovka in the Kharkiv region, Maslyakhovka, Novosolovka, Stavki, and Yereveya in the Donetsk People's Republic. Assault units of the 6th Army continue to destroy surrounded formations of the Armed Forces of Ukraine near the settlement of Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region. Another enemy attack was repelled in the northwestern direction aimed at breaking out of the encirclement ring. 8 militants of the 16th Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine were destroyed. In addition, 2 attempts to unblock surrounded formations by units of the 151st Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the 15th National Guard Brigade in the area of Petrovka in the Kharkiv region were stopped. Units of the South Troop Grouping occupied more advantageous lines and positions. Damage was inflicted on formations of 2 mechanized, an airmobile, and an assault brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements of Vasyakhovka, Verolyabovka, Dranovka, Zvanovka, Konstantinovka, and Seversk of the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 225 servicemen, a French-made VAB armored personnel carrier, a US-made HMMWV armored vehicle, 13 vehicles, and a field artillery gun. An electronic warfare station and a material supply depot were destroyed. Units of the Center Troop Grouping improved their frontline position. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 2 mechanized, 2 assault brigades, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, 2 territorial defense brigades, and 2 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements of Albitskoy, Natovka, Grishino, Kadlino, Pankovka, Rodinskoy, Rosa Luxemburg, Udagnoy of the Donetsk People's Republic, Ivanovka, and Novopavlovka of the Dnipropetrovsk region. In the settlement of Krasnoarmysk of the Donetsk People's Republic, assault units of the 2nd Army continue to destroy surrounded formations of the Armed Forces of Ukraine near the railway station. In addition, the clearing of Ukrainian militants from the territories of the settlements of Natovka and Rog of the Donetsk People's Republic is being completed. 7 enemy attacks were repelled in the northern and northwestern directions aimed at breaking out of the encirclement. Units of the East Troop Grouping continued advancing deep into the enemy's defense, striking mechanized brigade formations, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements of Novo-Alexandrovka, Chervony Lyman, Dnipropetrovsk region, Novonikolivka, Ribn, and Uspanivka in the Zaporizhzhia region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 290 servicemen, 3 armored combat vehicles, 10 vehicles, 4 artillery guns, and 2 electronic warfare stations. Units of the Dnipro Troop Grouping inflicted damage on personnel and equipment of mechanized, mountain assault brigades, and the Coastal Defense Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements of Novoandrievka, Primorsk, Stepnohorsk in the Zaporizhzhia region, Antonivka, and Nikolskoye in the Kherson region. More than 60 servicemen, 12 vehicles, 4 electronic warfare stations, and 3 supply depots were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian armed forces troop groupings inflicted damage on energy facilities that ensured the operation of enterprises of the Ukrainian military-industrial complex, military airfield infrastructure, storage and preparation sites for launching long-range strike UAVs, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations in 150 districts. By forces and means of the Black Sea Fleet, an unmanned boat was destroyed in the northwestern part of the Black Sea. Air defense means shot down 4 guided aerial bombs and 205 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 668 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 94,084 unmanned aerial vehicles, 633 surface-to-air missile systems, 25,788 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,608 multiple launch rocket system vehicles, 30,974 field artillery and mortars, 45,448 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.